who's reading today?
Prabhu, I am.
Sure, Vidya Madevi. Yeah, please go ahead, Madevi, when are you ready?
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances of Rishi Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Today we'll be reading from Canto 7, The Science of God, Chapter 14, Ideal Family Life. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devin Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayashu Abhareshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Nastiki. Text 1. Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired from Narad Muni, O my lord, O great sage, kindly explain how we who are staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life may also easily attain liberation according to the instruction of the Vedas. Text 2. Narada Muni replied, My dear king, those who stay at home as householders must act to earn their livelihood, and instead of trying to enjoy the results of their work themselves, they should offer these results to Krishna Vasudevaya. How to satisfy Vasudeva in this life can be perfectly understood through the association of great devotees of the Lord. Text 3-4. A grihastha must associate again and again with saintly persons, and with great respect he must hear the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Lord and his incarnations, as these activities are described in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. Thus, one should gradually become detached from affection for his wife and children, exactly like a man awakening from a dream. Text 5. While working to earn his livelihood, as much as necessary to maintain body and soul together, one who is actually learned should live in human society unattached to family affairs, although externally appearing very much attached. Text 6. An intelligent man in human society should make his own program of activities very simple. If dear suggestions from his friends, children, parents, brothers, or anyone else, he should externally agree, saying, Yes, that is all right, but internally he should be determined not to create a cumbersome life in which the purpose of life will not be fulfilled. Text 7. The natural products created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be utilized to maintain the bodies and souls of all living entities. The necessities of life are of three types: those produced from the sky, from rainfall, from the earth, from the mines, the seas, or the fields, and from the atmosphere, that which is obtained suddenly and unexpectedly. Text 8. One may claim proprietorship to as much wealth as required to maintain body and soul together. But one who desires proprietorship over more than that must be considered a thief, and he deserves to be punished by the laws of nature. Text 9. One should treat animals such as deer, camels, asses, monkeys, mice, snakes, birds, and flies exactly like one's own son. How little difference there actually is between children and these innocent animals. Text 10. Even if one is a householder rather than a brahmachari, a sannyasi, or vanaprasya, one should not endeavor very hard for religiosity, economic development, or satisfaction of the senses. Even in householder life, one should be satisfied to maintain body and soul together with whatever is available with minimum endeavor, according to place and time, by the grace of the Lord. One should not engage oneself in ugra karma. Text 11. Dogs, fallen persons, and untouchables, including candlelers, dog eaters, should all be maintained with their proper necessities, which should be contributed by the householders. Even one's wife at home, with whom one is most intimately attached, should be offered for the reception of guests and people in general. Text 12. One so seriously considers one's wife to be his own that he sometimes kills himself for her or kills others, including even his parents or his spiritual master or teacher. Therefore, if one can give up his attachment to such a wife, he conquers the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never conquered by anyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Namat Pranam. We'll start with little prayers. ॐ अज्ञानं तिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, then with pranam to everybody assembled here. Thank you, Vidya Mataji, for reading the translation. And thank you, Sundaranand Prabhuji, for giving me this opportunity so that I can purify my tongue and reading Bhagavatam with everybody. So here we have been reading Canto number 7, and we are in chapter number 14 today. We are starting a new chapter, which is entitled Ideal Family Life. Before this, the 13th chapter dealt with instructions which were related to Brahmachari ashram, Vanaprastha ashram, and Sannyas ashram. All of them were culminated together and given instructions because one of the common base ground that all of them share is absolutely no intimate life. That is a common ground that it shares. But Grihastha, it is given a separate chapter, Ideal Family Life, because it has a little bit different responsibilities. So here today we are doing text number 1 to 12. In this text number 1 to 12, we will be learning about details of duties of a grihastha, what a grihastha needs to do. Seems to be very important section for all of us, as most of us are grihasthas over here. So we get started with text number 1. Here, Maharaj Yudhishthir is inquiring to Narada Muni, and he says that please explain me that if a person is staying home only and is not aware about the goal of a life, what should that person do to get liberated? So the goal of the life here very clearly is being explained by Srila Prabhupada, that goal of life is to have self-realization, know who you are and where you're supposed to go. Like whenever we sit in the car, we put an address, put in the GPS, that where we are supposed to go, that is our destination, and we follow along that path. So this goal should be known by everybody in any varnashrama, whether a person is brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi, or who is in any form like brahman, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra. Whatever the person is, whatever category the person falls in, should be having the knowledge that where he or she needs to go. Here, Prabhupada is saying that one person can enter into grihastha life only if there is a desire to satisfy the desire for Indra Tripti. Sex life needs to be satisfied. Only then a person should enter into the Grihastha ashram. Otherwise, it is okay to be in Anya ashrams, as in different ashrams like Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. And when a person enters into the Grihastha life, it is very necessary that a person stays under the instructions given by the Guru and Shastra. We have to follow these two things very seriously. Here, Yudhishthira Maharaj is telling himself like he's acknowledging himself as Griha Mudadhi, which means that a person who is ignorant of goal of life. So it is very surprising to see that Yudhishthira Maharaj is calling himself a Muda. He is one of the 12 Mahajans that we have, as in great, great, great devotees. So, a very good example of how a humble personality should not be bumped up that, oh, I'm such a great devotee, I know everything. This attitude should not be there, which we learn from our previous acharyas and great Vaishnavas. And here he is submissively inquiring this question that though even Yudhishthir Maharaj is also a grihastha. When he's asking these questions, he's asking how I can perform my duties even in a better mode. And when you ask such questions, we have been told by Krishna himself from verse number 4.34, Tadvidi paripratena pariprashnena sevaya, that every person should very submissively ask questions to his Guru Maharaj, his Guru, and do seva. In return, you should do seva, Vapu seva, Vani seva, very, very nicely. So, this is what we see from this verse also that is happening. Here, Prabhupada further mentions that one should get out of this material life, and we all have to together focus on tapasya after some time. So, what does that after some time means? Is the rest of this chapter until verse number 19, where everybody has to, who is in Grihastha life, everybody has to do some sort of duties, right? And what are those duties and how they should be performed is being mentioned in this. Here, when I was thinking about that, you have to do tapasya after performing your proper grihastha life duties. That time I could think of an example, like perfect examples such as Prithu Maharaj and also Kashyap Muni. Right after they had performed their grihastha duties, they then finally got away from their grihastha life and performed severe austerities so that they could return to their actual goal. Rishabdev, also Prabhupada is mentioning, that tells his sons to get out of the comfortable situation and get into the mode of tapasya once all your duties are done. So, here from this verse, we'll move on to the next one, verse number 2. Now, Narad Muni is replying and he says that every person who is a householder, first, one important thing that they need to do is that they need to do something to earn a livelihood, basically, have a job, whatever sort of job. We have to first do that. And the second very important thing, that a person, when the person is doing a job, he might be getting certain remuneration. His concentration should not be to completely enjoy those results, the remuneration for himself. That results should be used for the service of Krishna. So this is how a grihastha should work. That earn, fulfill basic needs, and whatever is remaining should be used for Krishna. That is how a proper grihastha would be working. Here, when I was reading this, here in the purport, Prabhupada is mentioning that to stay in such a perfect life of grihastha, it is very, very important to have a good association of great devotees of Krishna. So association plays a very, very prime factor over here. When I was reading through the purport, I could think about these two verses from Nectar of Instruction. Here I'm just sharing a little bit of screen over here. Verse number 2 and verse number 3, we have seen that it says, Atyahar prayascha prajalpo niyamagraha jana sangascha lolyamcha sadbir bhakti vinashyati. So these are the 6 things that you should not do. Otherwise, your bhakti will get vinashyati, as it will be destroyed. If we see here, text number 3, it is talking about 6 things you should do with which your bhakti will become much, much better. Right? It will prasiddhiti. So it is utsaha nishchayadhyarya tat karma pravartanat sangatyaga satovrite sadbir bhakti prasiddhiti. So here if we see, there are 2 words which are very, very common, but there's 12 instructions total, what to do, what not to do. And there are 2 which come together, which have the same meaning. One is janasangas, have good association, And the other one in text number 3 is Sangatyaga. Do not have bad association. Ultimately mean the same thing. Prabhupada, in these purports of these NOI, he describes that when a certain thing is repeated twice, it means it is of super importance. So, out of these instructions, also, instruction of having a very good association is given to us repetitively. So, this should be followed very strictly. Anything that you repeat multiple times, it means it has importance. Like whenever kids are out and about to play, we tell them don't run around, be careful on certain thing, you might fall down, you might get hurt, and we keep repeating it because it is very important for them to assimilate it. Similarly, even Krishna repeats in Bhagavad Gita, manmana bhav mat bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuro, twice, because it means it is of a very much important value that a person pays attention and listens to it. So here again, association, time and again we see in Shastra, keeps coming up every now and then. In English also there is a verb that says you an association can make or break a person. So here Prabhupada is giving a very strong emphasis in the purport on association. So when I was reading this, I could think of two great personalities. One was Narad Muni. Because of association, he became Narad Muni. He got an association with great saints and sadhus during the 4 months, and he was in next birth. He was Narad Muni. What better association could he have got? And then we see also Ajamil. The moment he got asat sanga, bad association, good Ajamil, Brahman Ajamil turned into a bad Ajamil, right? He was at the verge that he was going to be dragged by the Yamadutas and taken to Yamalok. But then we all know the story how he was saved. But association played a very, very prime important role. So, further in this purport, Prabhupada is describing that it is very, along with association, it is very, very necessary that you keep reading the Shastras every single day. So he was, thinking about the olden days. Prabhupada is mentioning that when parents used to come back home from work every evening, everybody from the whole area, whole village would sit together and have a class on Bhagavatam, read Bhagavatam together, and sleep early. So their way of living was very sattvic, and Bhagavatam was a very crucial, important part of it. And nowadays, when we come back from work, we sit on the couch to pick up the remote and put on the TV to have some entertainment, right? So this is how he's trying to say that the society is going completely towards a downfall. Then we go on to verse number 3 and 4. This will be an important verse for today, dear devotees. If you have time, it's a lengthy purport. If you have time, I would encourage if you could read this. These are two verses together, combined together, verse number 3 and 4. And now, again, in this verse, it is said the Grihastha must associate again and again with saintly persons. So here we see when Prabhupada goes further to mention this, he says that again and again, when you are speaking about Krishna, it is like Amritam. Amrit. Amrit is nectar. And he says that the more one drinks this Amrit constantly over and over again, the more he advances in his spiritual life, which is our goal. And we have to advance in our spiritual life so that we can go finally meet our real father, Krishna, in Goloka Vrindavan. So that is what everybody is trying to do. So this again and again is very important. Here Prabhupada is explaining that sometimes people say that I read Bhagavad Gita once. I heard Bhagavad Gita once, but this is not what he's saying. He's saying another specific description here is Shravanam Bhagavato Bhikshanam Avtara Kathamritam. It is not that because one has just finished Bhagavad Gita once, he should not hear it again. Here, it is very important to understand Abhikshanam, you have to do it every single day. Right? You don't do your daily routines like getting up in the morning, taking a bath, and everything once. You have to keep doing it so that you keep yourself pure and clean. Similarly, Shastra Adhyan, reading of Shastra, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, all of these things should be done every single day so that we maintain the cleanliness of our heart. And further in this, Prabhupada explains that now what has the society become? The society has become like a dog, is what he says. He says everybody is running behind job. Everybody is traveling 3 hours to and fro to get to the job, working like a ass over there for 10, 12 hours. And then there is barely any time left, and all the frustration of the whole day. It's like they're so tired, they come home and they just have a sexual relationship just to get the stress out. And again, they do the same thing in the morning, get up like an ass, go to the work. So Prabhupada is saying that this life is life of a dog, where you're just eating, sleeping, mating, defending. This Prabhupada says even a dog does better than humans do. So the humans have a better goal, which unless it is not realized and not worked towards, the life of a human being is utter waste. So here Prabhupada goes on to explaining this very in detail and very nicely, that how a society should live, that they should go to work every single day, yes, because you are a grahastha, but the work should be done only 8 hours a day so that you can get your remuneration. And the rest, 16 hours that are left, obviously, 8 to 6 hours go for the sleeping, but the other 8 hours should be spent in improving your bhakti, your services for Godhead, by hearing, associating with Vaishnavas together, eating prasadam together, having Ishtagoshti with your devotees. So that would really elevate the quality of life of every grihastha, is what Prabhupada is mentioning. And hence I felt that this is really, really important for all of us to read if we can, because that's where we lack. Sometimes we get so engrossed in the material life that the goal is sometimes forgotten. Then we move on to verse number 5. Verse number 5, here Prabhupada is given an example of a conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramanand Rai. Here, the zest of this verse is that while a person is working hard for his livelihood, maintaining his body and everything, he has to still remain unattached to the family affairs. So it is pretty difficult, right? You have to do work for family but stay unattached. So here, Ramanand Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a conversation, which was a lengthy conversation, which spoke about what is the goal of life. And here Ramanand Rai is suggesting that every jivatma in the human body should have this Brahma Jigyasa. This person should inquire, why was I born like in this family? Why am I here in this particular family? Why am I in this situation? Why are this set of parents given to me? Why am I following what I'm following? All these questions need to come arise in a person's mind and heart, and then a person should strive hard to get answers for it. Because what most of the time happens is, everybody is giving birth to child, let us also give birth to child. Everybody is getting married, let's get married. Everybody is having kids, let's have kids. Everybody says it is necessary to be a doctor and an engineer, let's become a doctor and an engineer. That's not how work life should be. Life should be with a little bit inquiry. This is what Ramanandra is suggesting. And then he's saying that our outcome is generally animal propensity of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, which should be defeated. We should not just stay into this. The moment we take steps to know about our goal, then we will be out of the cycle of birth and death. And then he says, there's a very nice conclusion. He says, and in conclusion, he concludes that in the human form of life, he should not endeavor for unnecessary necessities. He should live in a very simple life, just maintaining the body and the soul together, where Prabhupada further goes to explain that there is a difference between need and your want. Your need are generally very limited, but we happen to make wants so many, and we confuse ourselves that the wants are actually my needs, but the need of any person is generally very limited. There are only very few things a person requires to maintain this body and soul together. There's not much you will need. This is what Prabhupada is explaining in this verse. And Prabhupada is finally saying that the real problem is that we are stuck in the world and we have to get out of it. And that is how we are going to find solution. And the solution he recommends is our Krishna consciousness movement. The more we get into this movement, deep engrossed, we will easily get out of this material rut. Text 6 and 7 we'll kind of do together. 6, Prabhupada has given no purport to it, but he says that how much ever we are there with the families and friends and together, we can use this term saying, yeah, that's all right. Like we can pretend to agree to unnecessary wants, but internally still we determine that our goal is Krishna consciousness and do not make our life too tough, too cumbersome. And from text number 7, Prabhupada is saying, not Prabhupada, in the translation it says, the natural product created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be utilized to maintain the bodies and soul of all living entities. So the natural product, as in whatever Krishna has given us through this Prakriti. Okay, everything can be used in a very simple manner, and our body and soul will be healthy and stay together. From Ishopanishad, first verse, we see Isha Vashamidam Sarvam. In that verse, Krishna says, everything is mine. Every single thing you see belongs to me. The earth, the water, the air, fire, everything you see is mine. And then we know, we have studied that we are part and parcels of Krishna. Krishna is our father. He is the Aham Bija Prajapita. He is the seed giving father to us. So, if Prakriti is also Krishna's and we are also Krishna's, it means there is a good relation between us and Krishna, right? So, we can use the things that we get from Prakriti. We can use because it is our father's property, right? But it should be used in a very good manner. It should not be exploited, is what is being recommended in this verse. Prabhupada is saying that when we start having Indra Tripti, sense gratification, and we start abusing the ingredients that are given to us by Krishna himself, start lording it over the nature, that's when idea of self-realization or understanding what your goal is starts depleting. We can't reach any further, any closer to it. Now, verse number 8, we move on to this verse. Here it is saying that one may claim proprietorship, as in one may have atyahara. One might do that, maintaining, accumulating too many things, just thinking that I may need it. This kind of increases a lot of asakti. And atyahar, we already know, we saw the NOI verses. In the first verse, it says we should not have atyahar, excess, excess accumulation of anything, and then we start thinking that I am the proprietor of this, which is all going to diminish our bhakti very intensely. Here, Prabhupada is saying that whatever you are getting, whatever you are accumulating, very good job. Use what is required for your personal body and your family, and everything else, whatever is extra, belongs to Krishna. Because if you have taken something from him, you should return it back, right? So whatever we own should be given to Krishna. And Prabhupada is mentioning over here that what a person should do, the person should go ahead, help in building temples, help in creating programs, help in organizing programs where more and more devotees can come together and, share the same bhakti bhava. And this is what we see, good examples are our ISKCON temples. How everybody, we have such great festivals. Yesterday we celebrated amazing Narsimha Chaturdashi, and it was so amazing. All the devotees had come together. Everybody worked so hard. We had such an amazing drama, amazing feast. What good decoration! Everything was there. And it is not that the temple has a lot of money. Everybody comes together, contributes something, and go ahead in this. So this is how a grihastha should be. Should use whatever is required for basic needs and then help to promote Krishna consciousness. And in this verse, it is very important that if a person is not sharing the extra that he has, it means that person is a thief. And robbing or being a thief against Krishna is one of the biggest sin that a person can do, right? So this should completely be avoided. Verse number 9. Verse number 9 talks about having equal vision. Then when we say equal vision, we can think about Pandita Samadarshana from Bhagavad Gita. So here it is said that one should treat all the animals and the birds and flies and etc. Everybody like the sun. So because we have to understand, Prabhupada in this verse says, animals do not have intelligence, just like the little kids. Little kids don't have the intelligence whether they should touch the fire or no, right? Because they might think it's a play, but the fire will irrespective burn them, whether it's a child or an adult person. So children lack intelligence. Similarly, animals lack intelligence. So there should be no enviousness towards the animals. And the next verse kind of goes together. Yes, that when a Grihastha is there. Grihastha should be taking care of everybody's need also. So I had heard in one lecture that previously the Grihastha would have the duty that before eating, before sitting to eat, the Grihastha would come out of the house and ask, is there anybody who's hungry? Is there anybody who needs something? And if there was somebody who is falling short of anything, they would try to provide food to them, and the animals they would give roti, as in some food to the cow or the dog of the street, right? And then whatever would be left would be taken over by grihastha, is what I've heard in lectures. So here that kind of goes well together, that a person should have equal vision for whatever species of life there is. And the grihastha is the person who is the earning sector of all four ashramas. So that sector should hold himself responsible for others' well-being too. Great responsibility, you see, grihasthas have. And then we go on to verse number 11. And in 11, we see it is about maintaining others, just how we saw. And in this maintenance, we have to take care, not only you do the work, there is a wife at the home. She should also be engaged in the service, in the reception of the guests. What does that mean? Wife should be ready to have guests over, to be able to fulfill their desires, like, to host them as a very good host and entertain the guest. This kind of attitude, both grihastha couple, when they execute towards the society is very well balanced. And it is happening due to the hard work of the grihastha, because grihastha span lasts only about for 25 years. And in this 25 years, you work for the welfare of yourself, your personal soul, and everybody around you. Because when you go in Vanprastha, your earnings come down. You're not really very responsible for the sannyasas and the brahmacharis. Verse number 12. This is the final verse for today, which talks about the detachment of wife. So one person is generally so possessive about his wife that he might go to any extent, to have that wife. But here Prabhupada is saying that it is very essential that we understand that both the wife and the person, the man, Jivera Swarup Hoy Krishnera Nityadas, both have to work as a team for achieving the goal, right? Both needs each other's help to finally go and achieve the goal, because a grihastha husband would go out earn money, and the wife can stay back home and cook great bhoga, offer it to Krishna, and then offer the prasad to everybody else. So for doing this, you need a very good team. So a husband and a wife can act as a amazing team, like undefeated team, provided their goals are matching, and the goal is to go to Krishna. If this goal is matching, you can work together. But the goals are different, one wants to be this, one wants to be this, then it is like a tug of war. So this kind of attitude should not be there. And simultaneously, when you're working towards the goal, you should all realize that there is one day that we'll have to part our ways. So attachment should not be intense. Otherwise, then we have to repeat the story of Puranjana that we have been already repeating, I guess. We have read in Puranjana's story how when you have too much attachment, Puranjana turns into Vidharvi in next birth. This is what we have already read in 4th canto. Today we will pause over here for with text number 12. I am so sorry I took a little bit extra time. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.